And welcoming back into Chamber Amplified, it's my boss, the director of the Findlay-Hancock County Chamber of Commerce, Dionne Neubauer. For I think this might only be your second appearance. I'm not sure, but Dionne, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Doug, it's great to see you again.
So it's always a little weird on the podcast to talk about the chamber because we talk about so many different business issues and topics and things like that we really don't think to talk about ourselves, which is maybe something we should do every once in a while on our podcast. So I'm happy to have you here to talk about 2026. And I think the best way to kick that off is talk about what Hancock Leadership is doing. Is what they made their announcement on their community project here just a week or so ago.
They did. So, Hancock Leadership has been around for almost 35 years or thereabouts. So, the class project, people are going to hear more about this, but they are going to be taking the playground that resided at Lincoln School here in downtown Findlay and relocating that to the Riverview Terrace neighborhood. So, lots of planning involved, but it's a great group of representatives of the Findlay-Hancock County community.
That's a really cool project, and I think it's just indicative of the type of projects that the leadership classes tend to take on. I know one of the physical therapists where I'm getting work on my elbow done. They've been talking about that. He's been talking to me about it quite a bit. It's cool to see that take off. But let's dig into leadership, because I think a lot of times when people think about the Chamber of Commerce, certainly they know the ribbon cuttings, they know fresh brewed business, they know the networking events, but it goes way beyond that. I think leadership is really a big example of that. So let's talk about why we have leadership programs through the Chamber.
Yeah, let's do that. Because if you think about it, leadership and professional development is one of those key areas of focus for us on any given day. Our leadership programs really expand outside of just the Hancock Adult Leadership Program. We've got the youth program,
Yeah.
which is targeted to high school juniors. We also have the Findlay Young Professionals. We have the Women's Leadership Program. And last year we announced, we're going to be working in conjunction with the University of Findlay on bringing forward a Hancock Collegiate program. And then separately, there's also plans in the works to do even a civic leadership engagement. So again, leadership, professional development is one of those key areas for us. But can I turn the tables?
Absolutely.
Because even we are investing in ourselves because you just came back from Institute. How about that for me segueing that in?
That's it's not often that I get to answer the questions here. Yeah, so for people who aren't familiar, it's a U.S. Chamber of Commerce program, Institute of Organizational Management. What's really cool about it is it's a 4-year certification. You have your IOM certification, so if you look up Dionne on LinkedIn, it's going to say IOM behind it. I have one more year left until I graduate and get my certification, and it's been awesome. It's a game changer in the way that we look at chambers. Now, I like to think of, just as I think about how long I've been here, just some of the bigger things that have helped me think about the chambers more than what we talked about at the beginning is one, working with Sherry Pash, who's helped us to really find some different ways to do things at the chamber, but then IOM and networking and talking with all sorts of different chamber professionals from around the country and taking the classes that we take. That first year that I went, it was really, I think, the turning point where I started to think there's just so many things we can do as a Chamber of Commerce that go well beyond, I think, what people first think about when they think of a Chamber of Commerce. It's awesome to think about the work that we can do in the community through that. So yeah, thanks for letting me have a chance to talk about that.
Absolutely. I think that goes to show too, we are really focused on being good stewards of those who are investing in the Chamber of Commerce, in the Alliance organization. And not only are we, investing in others to equip them to serve in our community, but we're also investing in ourselves so that we can make sure that we have the tools necessary to represent our community. So I'm excited that you're going through that program. I know, another one of our team members, Michelle Ladd, is going to be going here in a couple of weeks, work with the state chamber association. And again, part of that learning is also networking with other colleagues to see what's going on in their community. I mean, we're talking small to large organizations. And so it's a great opportunity. But again, it goes back to we're investing in each other from a team member standpoint, but we're also investing in those in our community.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely an exciting time to be around here. Let's talk about the chamber and its history. Another thing I think about is that how it's been around since the 1860s, and
1887. We'll go 1887. So
1887. I was close.
it
I
is.
never can remember
You're
the right date, so I just try and like find a decade, and well, we missed wildly
So
on
which
that.
means we're nearing the 140th year anniversary
Oh wow,
for our organization.
that is incredible.
Isn't it though?
You've not been here for all of those years, but
No, I
your
haven't.
career really started here and has worked all the way up to director of the organization. When
Yeah.
you look at just how the chamber world has changed and how we serve the business community and the community as a whole over just your tenure here, what are some of the big things that stand out to you that have changed since then?
You know, if anything, the consistency with the interest and pride in the collaboration within our community is truly a strong foundation of who we are and who we represent in the Findlay-Hancock County community. But to see how things have evolved, because obviously we are at those conversations
Mhm.
on the topics like housing and transportation and childcare. Even though the subject matter may change over the years, the fact is we have individuals who have a passion to serve and want to work with others to find solutions for our community to do so it can flourish and be a representation of someone or individual or family or a business who wants to live, work, and play in our community.
I think those are some of the most interesting conversations we have. And sometimes I think from the outside looking in, people might say, well, why does the Chamber of Commerce look at housing? But then when we talk to our members, we know that the issues they're having is that they need places for their employees to live.
Right.
And it all goes back to that quality of life. So to be at the forefront of those conversations is huge, but it's a lot more than just, hey, let's get people in the same room and network. Although getting people in the same room to network is part and parcel with what we do. And I think what I always love hearing is when people come back and say, oh yeah, I talked to this person at Fresh Brew Business or whatever, and we had lunch and now we're going to do this. And whether it's maybe they're a new business contact for them, or maybe they just got together on a board to talk about housing or whatever other issue it is, that always to me feels like, all right, mission accomplished on that goal.
One of the other key things that resonates with me, granted, organization came back, was formed in 1887, and even at that time, which remains the same today, is that the chamber is here we build trust and connections with the business community, through relationships, events, and we have that consistent service and the ability to help support individuals and even organizations. So those are those fundamental, essential tools within the chamber that continue throughout. And here we are almost 140 years later.
So let's talk a little bit about the future as we roll into 2026 here. What are the things you look forward to in the new year from a chamber perspective?
Well, you jump into this conversation too. So, what we have a very healthy organization. We know that our membership retention is really strong. We're in the, mid 90%, which we're very proud of. But, continue to grow and retain our memberships, providing those tools and resources, that education. We know with technology, which is right up your alley, how AI is changing things. And so how we can bring that information to the forefront to help educate our members. So we're constantly, as you very well know, looking for those topics, but also those pinch points for our business community that, whether it's health insurance or regulations that, are really bearing down on our business community. So always looking for those tools to make sure we can bring forward to our members. And, even more so, our ability to collaborate not only internally, because there are two other divisions here with the alliance, and so the three divisions have this opportunity to just further enhance our collaboration into the community, because a lot of times, as we very well know, because the chamber's been around for 140 years, that a lot of times we are that front door to the community, or front door, but allows individuals and businesses to enter that our organization, which allows us to also do handoffs, or if not, extend those relationships to help support and grow and connect with others. So, the two other divisions, Convention of Visitors Bureau and Economic Development, are just two other divisions of the Alliance. So our ability to further enhance that collaboration is so important moving forward.
There's definitely exciting times around here. And I'm not saying that just because having my boss on the podcast, it's just, you never know what you're walking into on a day-to-day basis, on what conversations are going to be had. And I think that's part of the reason why we love the job around here and everything. So I appreciate you joining us on the podcast once again. I should probably have you on more often, just so you know what I'm doing. But
hey, I'm just down the hallway. So
yeah. Well, it is odd doing this as a remote interview when we're like, I don't know, 10 feet from each other in the building, but maybe more to come on that as we roll towards our 200th episode of Chamber Amplified a little bit later this year. We'll leave that as a teaser.
Well, yeah, and as we are starting off the year, it's very important to note that, we're going to do our part with the America 250 this year. Certainly with the city and the county and the Convention of Visitors Bureau Economic Development, we're going to be playing a role in that effort as well to help promote. And, we're going to take a look back, too, with the Chamber of Commerce, although we've not been around that long, but 140 years is pretty significant.
That's pretty good.
Pretty good. We've got some great photos that I think we're going to bring forward and share through our social media channels to kind of take a look back, because those efforts by those men and women in the past have truly carried forward what we're doing today.
Actually, I have one last question for you. You said that, and it made me think of, I see this picture in different businesses around the community from time to time. It's an older picture of downtown Findlay. I think it's the bridge, back when the bridge used to have trusses. And then there's the banner right across it, and it says the Chamber of Commerce it's something like the Chamber of Commerce is the center of progress in the community, or something like that. Yes. And I always think, one, that's just a really cool picture. It really does stand for what we do. But as we roll into 2026, do you feel that's still the mission of the chamber? Does that banner that was up so many years ago still represent what we do?
I truly believe that, yes, which kind of goes back to what was created back in 1887. We're just building off of the work of our forefathers and bringing it forward. And we're only going to continue to strive and do more things moving forward to represent our community, not only locally, but regionally, statewide, federally, and even internationally, because we do have those international companies who are very much invested in our community as well.
Very good. Well, Dionne, thank you for joining us on what is, I guess, admittedly a self-serving edition of Chamber Amplify. But you know what? Sometimes you got to do that. So I appreciate you taking time out of your afternoon to do this.
Well, thanks. We're looking forward to a great year.